Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Writer's Chat. My name is Johnny Alexander. I'm really glad to be here with you today. I'm joined by my co-host, and I love saying their names together, Melissa Stroh and Brandy Bro, because I'm a little bit of a poet, just a little bit. So that's always fun. We're also joined by one of our founding co-hosts, Bethany Jett. It's always fun to have her back again. Especially fun for me because in, full disclosure, she is my daughter. I write fiction, Bethany writes nonfiction, so it's been fun for us to sort of travel those paths together, but separately through, the writing journey. Bethany is the mom of 3 boys who are, of course, my wonderful, adorable, perfect grandsons. And she's the owner of 2 companies, Platinum Literary, which provides marketing strategy services to writers, and also Serious Writer and Serious Writer Academy is part of that, which provides conferences and teachings and all kinds of support, encouragement to help people along their writing journeys and writing paths. She has written several books. The latest is called Navigating Minefields. Is it out yet?
Back there, I have 1 copy.
When does it release? Pretty soon though, right?
Yeah, on the 12th, as long as shipping, comes in appropriately. I think a lot of people in the book industry are looking at that right now.
Yeah, shipping's an issue. Do you want to show it to us real fast?
Yeah, let me.
And then while she's doing that, we're talking today about virtual assistants and online specialists, I think is what we actually called it. Okay, there we go. Navigating Minefields. And what's the subtitle?
A Young Man's Blueprint for Success on Life's Battlefield.
Yeah, so Bethany's got some experience with that with those 3, again, adorable, perfect boys. And she's co-written that book with Vicki Durstock, who also has a son of her own. And Vicki's another one who's been part of our community for quite a while. So Bethany, I'm gonna let you introduce the beautiful and wonderful Sarah Kudrain.
Yes, well, it's so great to be here. I'm excited and so good to see all of you, and very excited to introduce you to the person who has changed my life for the better, Sarah Kudrain. And I know we've talked a lot, in episodes past about delegating and what can you take off your plate and scheduling and all those kinds of things. And Sarah is an online specialist, sometimes called a virtual assistant, but online specialist covers so much more than that. So I'm really glad that she's here to talk about that. And I'm going to let her explain what an online specialist is, but we do want this to be very conversational. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. Because what Sarah and I really wanted this call to be was that if you've got questions about hiring a VA or an online specialist or someone to handle this for you, this is kind of be a good show to get all those questions out with somebody who is experienced with that, but also is creating her own mogul dynasty with her sister. So Sarah, do you want to talk about how you got started and what an online specialist is and more about your business and your company?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm so excited to be here. So thank you so much for letting me be on here. So let's see. So let's go from the beginning. My sister started her VA company. It was before COVID, and then right before COVID hit, she had asked me if I could start helping her because she had a ton of work on her plate, and she was like, I need help. She was a virtual assistant who needed a virtual assistant to help. And so I was just doing, small general VA tasks for her. And then I started wanting to do more and more and more. And then I opened up my business in August of last year. So I haven't been in business too long, but August of last year. And I've grown my company to become a social media manager and a general virtual assistant. And so just a little bit about an online assistant versus a virtual assistant, because I know that can get confusing because it's multiple titles and what the heck even is that? But an online assistant is going to cover so many different areas of an assistant that you can have. that covers a social media manager, a general VA, a VA that specializes in different kinds of things like strategizing your content or strategizing your emails and stuff like that. So I like to say online assistant because I don't want to just be like stuck to just like VA work, because I'm open to any kind of work that, you know, that comes my way. Unless you need a website, then I can't make you a website. So yeah.
I will say that while I was at Bethany's house last week, I got to overhear some conversations between Bethany and Sarah, and Sarah has to be the most organized person I think I've ever come across. And I know some pretty well organized people, but she had her list, and, you know, and then Bethany was showing me a list, and it was like, wow, it's just amazing. Were you born that way, Sarah?
No, I was not born that way. I wish. It takes a while to get there, but and we'll talk more later on like the good qualities of a VA, and being organized is definitely one of the most important things while being a VA. But I'm sure we'll talk about that more later.
We did have a question. Isabel says it's similar to a community manager. I'm not really familiar with a community manager is in that context, but I'm gonna, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so community managers for like a Facebook group or another platform, that can definitely fall under virtual assisting work. It would probably be more of like a niche, maybe more towards social media management, but on the engagement side. So that'll fall under like the engagement category. But yeah, it definitely can be similar to a community manager. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so we just have like a light outline. So like questions are going to be great coming in. So like, Sarah, who needs a VA?
That's a great question. Everyone needs a VA. Literally everyone. And you'll probably need different types of VAs too. Like I was saying earlier, there's different types of online specialists that go into certain areas. So really everyone can have a VA, but it's up to you. It's what are you doing in your business that you don't want on your plate anymore? And if there's enough tasks where you're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and I just don't have time to do it. I don't have enough hours in the day to do this, and I just don't want to think about it. You can hire a VA to do that. And if you're looking to, this is such a big question, but if you're looking to, grow your social media grow your social media accounts, you can hire a social media manager, which is a virtual assistant still, and they can strategize your content, find you leads, grow your account for you, engage with your audience. And okay, yes, so definitely like a virtual secretary. Yes, for sure. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that might actually segue into this next part, which then we'll go back to the how do you find. Let's go to here. How do you find a VA or a social media? Let's start with that. How do you find somebody? And then I'll tell you how I found Sarah.
You can find VAs or social media managers on Facebook groups. There are a lot of like, I don't know if y'all have heard of the Boss Moms page. I like to stick to the Christian like entrepreneur pages, because I mean, that's who I work best with. So I find a lot of my clients on there. So you can find a lot of VAs and social media managers on there. Or just word of mouth as well, which is always the best. Word of mouth is always the best.
It's true, until you get clients like me who don't want to share you with anybody. Don't want to put your name out there. I'm just kidding. I am telling people who she is, obviously, because we're on this call. But that's actually how I found Sarah. And I had been thinking about getting a VA for a long time, like months, like maybe almost a year, and had started these little mini searches, but never really followed through on it. And I did find her in a Facebook group. I can't remember which one, but I'm guessing it was one of those Christian boss ones. The best thing to do, honestly, is to go in those groups and use the search feature, that magnifying glass, because people have already asked these questions, and go into the threads and see whose name was getting repeated. And then also putting your own question in there. Like, I know this has been asked before, but just looking for anyone who has any updates. Does anyone have like searching for VA, or the term virtual assistant is what I used. And I was looking through I think I had like 3 or 4 people that I was kind of like secretly stalking their stuff to kind of see if we would be a good fit. And like Sarah mentioned, she's posting her services in certain groups that she knows she's going to work well with too. And I needed somebody who was also going to, that was, because you're trusting people with so much personal information, that had the same value system. That was really important to me. And then I remember I told Michelle, Medlock Adams, my business partner, that I was doing this. And I was like, I just have a feeling about this girl, Sarah. I don't know. We hadn't met yet. So God kind of like, I was really praying hard about it, but I kind of had a feeling that this was going to work out, and it's been great.
Yeah. So how do you vet a VA before you hire them?
Good question.
We can both answer this. Sarah, you want to go first?
Yeah, well, you can go first. I feel like I've been going first.
Okay, so I was looking at websites. I was looking at their social media pages, what I could see on there. Like there was one girl I thought, oh, she sounds pretty great, like just kind of the experience that she had. But then I was on her social media and I was like, I don't think she's going to like me. And I'm not really sure I'm going to like her as a person. So I'm like, that's not going to be a good fit because she's not going to maybe understand a lot that I'm doing in this world, or even like why I do certain things. I didn't want to have to explain certain value systems, I guess. So that was a big one. And then we got on so I had already looked over all of her stuff, and then we set up a consultation call. And so now I'll let you start there, because that was the clincher for me. I was like, okay, I know for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely say the best thing to do is to start messaging the person you're looking for. The best way to learn about that, like we can say all kinds of things, when I'm marketing and stuff, I can tell you everything. But if you truly want to get to know me and see if like we would be a good match to work together, you got to talk to me and like hop on a call with me and just get to know me, So yeah.
Did that help answer the questions? I know I went a little bit vague on that, Brandy, but
well, I was thinking that since a VA handles so much personal information, maybe it's a good idea to ask for references as well. Because you want to make sure that the VA that you're looking into isn't just good on the surface, but is really good on the whole.
I think that was covered for me when I was seeing people put her name down in that Facebook group, like, because they had some of the comments that had been left. I was like, okay, this person is freely recommending Sarah, which kind of helps me with that. And then I don't know, we kind of meshed online too, so I didn't really have a lot of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have a lot of spirit. Yeah, but no, you do obviously want to do references for sure.
And I have to add on that too. I have had a client of mine that I have right now. She had asked for references for me, and I was like, oh, I had never had anybody ask for like references, and that was really good. I was able to give her, before I was a VA, like where I used to work. And I was able to give her a few references of people that I currently work with as well. So, and if a VA, a lot of times VAs might be starting out. So if they don't already have references, you can even talk to previous, places that they worked, or even, I would say, even family members as well. So just to give more background on them.
Okay, so that also leads to something that I liked in Sarah's profile. So she had a lot of information about like where she had come from, but I don't want to say the wrong name, but Sarah, tell us about Disney.
Wait, what do you want to know about?
Disney College, I guess.
Oh, the Disney College program. Yes. Do you want me to? Okay.
Yeah.
If we got onto that subject, that's probably all this call will be about.
Can you just tell us what it is?
Okay. So the Disney College program is a paid internship for college students. And I completed 2 programs there. You just work as a frontline cast member. Doing all kinds of roles. Every role is open basically, but you can be like a housekeeper, custodian, food and beverage worker, a merchandise worker. And okay, so I'll put this in there. I did 2 programs at Disney. They were both about a year long. My first one, I worked in food and beverage, which I loved it so much. And then my second one, I was in merchandise, just, behind the counter selling stuff. And then I got promoted to be a assistant manager, which doesn't happen often, but my area allowed it. So that was really fun. If anybody else wants to ask any questions about Disney, I will be happy to answer them.
I do have one. Were you at Disney World?
Yes, Disney World and Magic Kingdom.
So that was something important to me, because as I was reading through her resume, I was like, okay, 2 years at Disney, I know Disney. Like we used to go to Disney all the time. And like my sister used to work at Disney, and like it's kind of like Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Disney. There's just this company culture that is kind of, goes into that. And so I knew a lot about who she was based on the fact that she had gone through 2 programs at Disney and those kinds of things. So that was also kind of like reinforcing good feelings about her before we had that consultation call too, because I just knew, okay, if she's doing this, okay, I like her already. Right, like one of those things.
I'm sure those are competitive too, to be chosen, especially twice. That's
Yeah,
kudos
it
to
is.
you.
It's definitely a very competitive program. So I'm very grateful that I got to participate in both of them. But I should talk about Disney more because that's really why I am able to work the way I am, because especially being a assistant manager at Disney, I was led by my leaders, and I've learned so much from them, especially organizing. That was one of the biggest things. And they do things a very particular way with how we serve our guests. And I definitely take everything that I've learned at Disney into my business. So yeah, it's definitely had a huge impact on my business.
One other thing too that I was looking for was somebody who, I don't know if I was looking for it directly, but it was in the back of my mind, and Sarah has reinforced that for me, is that sometimes in writerland, we find people to help us who are also other writers, and like we can help in the career and stuff. I kind of wanted someone who was outside of that writing community, who was doing this as a business. So like Sarah is going to be creating this extreme, amazing, she's going to own the biggest VA company ever. Like that's the dream and goal. And so I love that she's got her own like entrepreneurial vision with her business, which then made me feel super comfortable knowing, okay, we're in this long-term together as long as we work together well. So that was something else I was looking for too, was somebody who was kind of like, this is what I want to do versus temporary. I'm doing, like, I was a VA for a little while, but I quit. Like I want someone who's in it more for the long haul.
Definitely. So I see that we had 2 questions up there. If a VA is a full-time job. So yes and no. So it is my full-time job, but a lot of times it could just be, stay-at-home moms who already have enough on their plate already, but they want to kind of have something of their own, which is what my sister did. And she was just kind of doing it part-time while she was taking care of the kids. And then she shifted into full-time. So usually VAs will have like a maximum amount of like hours they'll work in a month. And it usually ranges from like 80 total hours to 120. So yes, it can be a full-time job. And then can you also hire a VA as a temp? I guess you could, just for, if like one-off tasks. Is that what you were asking?
I'm going to assume so. Just, maybe for one project.
Yeah, you can definitely do that for one project. I would make that clear when you are looking for somebody. I wouldn't necessarily say, I'm looking for a VA to do like this one project. You could just say, hey, I need 8 graphics. Oh, okay, yeah, I need somebody to help me get started on my email newsletter. And this is just going to be like a one-time task. And you can even put your budget in there of how much you're like willing to pay for this project. And they can help you and stay around that budget for you. So definitely, if you just need it for a one-time thing, that's possible.
I like that, being specific, like, yes, knowing exactly what it is you want so you can convey that to somebody else. That sounds good.
Definitely.
So Sarah, I know that you work for Bethany personally, but also for both companies, I think, right, too, right? So that's 3 clients kind of in one, but it's still 3 different entities. Are you still looking for new clients? Or are you pretty much, because I know she keeps you really busy. So, I mean, I was there. I know that. Are you still looking for clients, and are you doing this? I mean, are you like getting up in the morning? This is very personal, I suppose, but 8 to 5, you're at your desk. This is what you're doing, kind of thing. This is like an office for you, even though you're at home, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for new clients. I'm always looking for new clients. I definitely want to add more people to work with, and hopefully I can bring on a few other people to work with me, which I'll be very particular about. I'm super scared to do it, even though I know I need a VA, but yes. And definitely I will be working from 8 to, I think I work from like 8 to 4 and then 8 to 6 on some days. I say I only work 8 to 4, but I always go over my time because I just want to make sure I get everything done. But I mean, my schedule is super flexible, so I can work from 8 to 12 and get everything done if I needed to. But I also count myself as a client too. So I also work on my business as well. So I account for that.
What a great idea. That sounds like a very smart thing to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. What else do you have, Bethany?
Yeah, I saw some more questions come in. So we'll answer Catherine's question, and then we'll jump into something Sarah and I talked about that people might want to ask questions about. So I'll go ahead and give a heads up in case anyone's got questions. Was kind of how do you know how much to pay a VA? What is the expectations that come along with that? How many hours are they working? How do you even figure that out? And then we also have some tools and apps to
And then what kind of jobs a VA does would be
all
cool.
of those things.
Yeah.
So if anyone's got any questions about any of that, that can help lead where the conversation goes. But those are some of the things we wanted to make sure we touched on, in at least specifically for the replay as well. So Sarah, does I'm going to say a VA is a virtual assistant, and I know you like online specialist because it covers so much more. So we'll call it an OS. Does publicity and marketing fall underneath some of those categories? Like,
Yes and no. So so in that question specifically, because let's see. Oh, I'm reading the second part of it. What I mean is I don't do well. Okay, so for that task, I would say no, because that is more of like a specialist. Well, it is a specialist. So a VA is more of the doer. So if you already had a process set in place of, like, you have a newsletter, Bethany, and you're like, I do this, I just need you to change this, and we send it to these people. But if I were to come in and say, hey, if you needed me to come in and say, hey, we need to have this newsletter going out at this time to these amount of people in order for us to get this, that's more of like something a publicity and like marketing specialist might do. But it wouldn't fall under a VA task. So we're just the doers of things that are already set in place. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense?
it makes sense to me. I can also clarify the difference between publicity and marketing, if that would help too. So marketing is, integrated marketing, which I've taught on in here before. So if you're listening, you can find the integrated marketing thing in YouTube, search it with Writer's Chat and it'll probably pop up. That's just delivering your consistent brand message. So I always think of marketing as the message, and you've got strategies and tactics that deliver the message. Publicity is the awareness of that message. So that a publicist comes in and says, okay, I've got connections with radio, media, podcasts, and I'm going to get you on those shows because they have those connections too. So it's like a publicist is completely separate than like a marketing strategist. They do two different jobs, although a lot of times they get really intermixed. And so I think just to add on what Sarah was saying is that some VAs or online specialists, they may say, okay, I've worked in publicity, so I can pull that under my umbrella. And if you're going to need someone like that, I would find someone like that, but it's probably two very different skill sets, publicity and a VA, like she said. I don't know that I would be looking for someone to do both of those for me. Instead, one thing that Sarah does is when those interviews come in, she marks them for me in a special way to make sure that I get them on my calendar and that I know who to go back to and make sure that I'm following up on those and not missing them. And that's really a super benefit and value to me as a client.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're looking for somebody to go out and find those interviews for you, I would definitely look at getting like a specialist to do that. That has probably had experience in that. Because I don't think a lot of VAs have probably done that, but I don't know. I mean, everybody that's a VA has different skill sets, so they could.
Okay, now I'm the kind of person that needs to have clear examples of things. So can you give us like a list of the specific types of tasks that you fulfill?
Okay, I don't have the list on me, but I have a list of like 100+ tasks that a VA can actually do. So
I just mean like an overview, like, do you answer email? Do you, just those kinds of things, just to give us an idea of the types of jobs a VA is expected to do or could do.
Yeah, okay, so I'll name a few. And then later on, if y'all want me to add like the whole thing of like what a VA can do, I can add that as well. So yeah, answering emails, email management, graphic creation. I'm trying to think of a bunch at the top of my head.
That's great.
Creating documents, creating Excel sheets for things you need.
Newsletters.
Yes, newsletters, editing newsletters, you could do that. I'm trying to think of more like the social media management aspect side. Anything that would fall under social media management, such as like engagement.
Like making posts on behalf of your client?
Yeah, that as well. Hashtag search, reels, yes, editing reels, all kinds of things. Like lots of any task that already has a system set in place and we're able to fulfill the task, like do the task the way that you have it set up, would fall under a VA.
You're like a live person of an automated system.
Yeah, basically.
That's true. In a sense, yeah. It's almost like so what Sarah's teaching me, we've been working together for 4 or 5 months now, I'm not sure exactly. But what I'm learning to look at is, what do my hands have to touch that her hands can't? And where is the point that I can let it go, which is hard. It's hard. This has been such a process, bigger than what I expected it to be, in terms of really digging down into process. That's something that I thought I didn't really need. And Sarah showed me that I definitely do. And it's helping me really create those processes. But then coming to the point of where she can step in and say, okay, this is where you need to, and tells me sometimes like that your hands need to be off of this at this point, give it to me. And then I can let it go and release it. And so, but that's also, I will tell you, I think my stress level has gone down over the last few months as these processes are now starting to take place as we've refining them. So, good questions. Okay, so someone said, Isabel wants to know about the typical VA day. And then I also know, I think let's talk about pay real quick and then jump into the typical VA day. Because I know this is a hard one because it's going to change. It's variable per project, per person that you're talking to. Like there's, but can you give your thoughts on like, what could people expect if they're looking for what's outrageous, what's not? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a tough question because it really depends on the type of work it is. But if it's a general, administration task, I would say that it can fall anywhere between $25 to $40 an hour. Or if it's more of like a specialized service, such as publicity and marketing specialist or social media management, that can range anywhere from $40 to $75 an hour. Now, also, most VAs don't charge hourly. Sometimes when I have clients come on, I will charge hourly the first month just to get kind of like a scope of work if I'm not sure of how many hours a task may take me. But I don't stay hourly because it can just be tricky. So most of the time, VAs will charge like a packaged rate. So like email management, I know is going to take me no more than 10 hours a month. It'll take anywhere between 5 to 10 hours a month, depending on your email. So I might charge that package anywhere from $300 to $400, depending on what I'm needing done, and all that. So, but yeah, so a social media manager, any specialized service is definitely going to be 40 or more an hour. But it really depends on the task.
Would it be helpful to kind of explain how we have it set up without getting like specific? Like, could that be helpful? Like it's more like a retainer system. Like, here's the projects that I need. Sarah sends a quote. This is how much it would be per month for this. Okay, great. Or okay, let's take this out. Let's add this. Let's switch it up a little bit. And then it's just a payment that comes out every month. And so what's really nice about that is I'm never worried about like hours coming in like randomly, like, oh, I worked X number of hours this week, so I know consistently how much I'm going to pay her every month too. And then I think too, making sure you find someone who you like to work with, because then like if you have a month where it was like crazy overboard, it's like, okay, we need to maybe renegotiate the scope. And like that can be a conversation that isn't freaking you both out. Like, okay, then let's make adjustments here. Because your work, hopefully, depending on what you need, if you're looking for someone to kind of go long term with you, it's helpful when you can have those kinds of conversations and be like, okay, I want to make sure this is working for everybody. And the monthly retainer is the only word I can really think of, but like that monthly retainer makes it's not stressful. I have not felt any stress over that.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing I wanted to add as well is when you are hourly, if there's any like big mistakes made, the VA will continue to account for the time it takes to fix that project usually. So like if there's typos or something, which usually doesn't take like long to fix, but still it's time. And when you charge hourly, time is money. And you will have to pay for that time still. So that's also why I don't like doing hourly, because I know I'm not perfect, guys. I try hard to be, but I'm not perfect. And if I mess up a project, I am definitely I want to take it on my own time to go and fix it. And that's another reason why I love package pricing, is because I don't have to track the time it takes to fix it.
Do you want to share like a typical VA day? And then Melissa asked about the breakdown list of tasks. So yeah, I think everyone's going to definitely want to see your awesome list and hopefully subscribe to your newsletter to get that list.
Yeah, well, I haven't made my newsletter yet, but it's coming, guys.
We'll get it set up so you can send it to people.
Okay, so a typical VA day for me looks like, so I time block. And basically what that is I set like an hour of time. I know what tasks need to be done, and I spend that hour getting those tasks done. So I'll, get up in the morning. I have my own, getting ready. I get on my computer at between 8 and 9 a.m., start my tasks, and end the day. There's really not much to it. I mean, I wish I had more of like a cool answer, but that's really what it is. I'm usually sitting here in my pajamas, drinking coffee or water, working.
Do you do like one client at a time, or do you do like if you've got to do like newsletters for more than one client? So you do, okay, newsletter, or is it more like, okay, this is everything I need to do for Bethany, and then I'm going to move and do for client B, and then I'm going to move and do for client C? What works best for you?
Yeah, so I usually do have about an hour of work a day per client, and I'll break that up into different parts of the day, because sometimes tasks are time sensitive and they need to be done at that specific time. So I set an increment amount of time for that client throughout the day. So, but sometimes I may just do a whole bunch of bulk work, just the whole hour for that client at a specific time. But most of the time I don't do that because of the tasks that I have for my clients. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so yes and no.
Well, it sounds like it's pretty flexible. I mean, you're flexible with your hours, which is great. You're flexible with the tasks that need to be done and the clients. And then it just seems like that would make it so much less, boring and rote, that you're switching it up a bit, and you've got the freedom to do that, which is nice.
Definitely. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this type of task right now. And I'm like, you know what? I can just do it later when I'm in the mindset for it. So I do that sometimes too.
Why don't we jump in? Do you want to jump into tools and apps that you like or recommend, or that maybe it's common that a lot of VAs or online specialists are going to say, okay, we're going to create an account here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll mention Voxer, and then I'll let you tell everybody how much you love Voxer.
Okay.
So Voxer.
Oh, okay. I'll tell them. Okay. I was going to come in. I thought, okay. Okay. Why don't you start off with why you use Voxer? Because I thought that was great.
Okay. I use Voxer to, communicate with my clients, and you can send voice messages, pictures, videos up to 1 minute. And you can talk for as long as you want to. I feel like sometimes we're talking for like 15 minutes. I don't know if we've had a 15-minute long Voxer, but I love when I get to box you. But it's basically just like talking on the phone with them. And I know you can do that in like on iPhones and stuff, but it's definitely way different. So I definitely recommend Voxer to communicate with your clients because it makes it super efficient. I've also heard of people using Slack, which is another great option. I also have Slack, but I don't use it very often. Voxer is like my baby.
What's really great about using Voxer and not text. So sometimes Sarah and I will text, but that's only so. Okay, so this comes into setting up expectations working together, like at the beginning. And so Voxer was like I'd used Voxer before when it like first came out, but hadn't used it again. It's kind of like a walkie-talkie, like those Nextels. Remember those phones where you could like walk each other and everyone can hear? Yeah, we used to have those and I hated them. So, but Voxer works the same way. But what's great about it, and what Sarah said, this is why it's so great, is because she can turn off Voxer notifications whenever she wants to. So I can message her at 9:00 at night when I've got an idea or something I need to I'm thinking about, and it's not going to wake her up. I'm not blowing up her phone as far as text messages go. And then if I do text her, it's like, this is urgent and I kind of need to make sure you see it right now. And so now I've got 2 ways to get a hold of Sarah. And I never feel like Voxer gives you the freedom to then do brain dumps. Like this morning I was sending these little brain dump messages over there, but I don't feel like I'm bothering her when that happens. And so it has been amazing to have that app to use for business stuff. It's been really, really great. And it is free, although I did mention that I upgraded after about a month because I wanted maybe about 2 months of it because I wanted to be able to transcribe the messages because sometimes I'm in a place where I can't listen or I can't hear it, but I need to see what she's saying to me, particularly because I know her hours. I try not to keep her after 4 to honor her time too. So if I do get a message where I know it's probably getting close to that time or later, then I try to look at it. But sometimes, like you said, it's dinner time here, you can't hear it. So you can read them. And so if anyone's like, oh, it would be great if I could transcribe those messages, you can, and it's not very expensive. But you don't have to. It's very easy to use without that feature.
Definitely. And I think that Slack is similar. I'm not sure if you can do audio messages on Slack. So if anybody has used it, you can let me know. But I don't really use Slack.
All I remember about Slack is that you can, there's threads in there, you can share files. And I think there's the option to do video, but I don't remember.
Okay, interesting.
Discord would be another option because you can do video and phone through there, but I think Voxer just makes it very simple. Like,
yeah, definitely. And then just a few other tools. I'm not sure you, as the client, would be using a CRM tool such as like Honeybook or 17 Hats, but your VA will definitely be, invoicing you probably through Honeybook, Dubsado, 17 Hats, any CRM system. So yeah. And then another thing that they might use to set up things to keep you organized, Bethany and I use ClickUp. We've also used Trello, but ClickUp is just the end all be all, the most amazing, like the Bible of VAs, literally. And also Asana. I haven't used Asana, but I heard people love it. But ClickUp is where I put everything for Bethany.
And it's nice too because we've been so I'm just dipping my toes in it as Sarah's been putting stuff there, but she was able to connect the Google Drive with it, so we can run through lists and things just staying in the one system, which has been great. And I know these are a lot of crazy words because all these names are crazy. I tried to type them in a CRM, the customer relationship management system that Sarah was talking about. A lot of times you're going to hear about that. So on the VA side, okay, let me back up. On the VA side, using it very much in that customer relationship management, just like the term says. You'll also hear this term in email marketing when you're talking about Infusionsoft or which isn't even called Infusionsoft anymore, or Entreport, or some of those bigger, more powerful email service providers, because you're now tracking in much more detail the actions of people that you're sending email to. So a lot of times you'll see it involved in email marketing as well. And Sarah uses it very much as client management.
Yeah, definitely. And ClickUp, Trello, and Asana all fall under project management tools that you'll use for all of your projects. So I could go into ClickUp, what it does, but it would take so long. But just like a brief overview, let's say you needed a newsletter. You can have a whole section on ClickUp just about that newsletter, and add like tasks and complete tasks. You can add documents, Excel sheets. You can integrate your email onto there. ClickUp is really amazing. So if you have a lot that is going on, I would definitely recommend ClickUp. But if you're looking for something more, just simple and just you want to look at it, but don't need too much, Trello is a great way to go too. So if anybody has questions on ClickUp, you can ask and I'll do my best to answer because there's so much on there I don't know. Oh, and Loom.
Oh,
Loom.
I love Loom more than Zoom.
How do you spell that? Is that Loom, Lum, Lume?
LOOM.
Okay, thank you.
LUME will get you to a deodorant.
Oh, yes, right. And LUM, I think, takes you to music.
Yes. Okay, Sarah.
LOOM.
I even told my mom when she was here, I was like, well, I call it Loomly. Like, so if you hear me say that's an accident, just because it's like Calendly, I was like doing all these. Oh, Calendly is another calendar system that is good too. But I was telling my mom, like, you got to get on Loom. You got to use, okay, Sarah, talk about Loom.
Okay, well, actually, Loomly is a whole nother thing itself, which I found out about because I was on Google and I accidentally typed Loomly because we say Loomly. Okay, so Loom, you can record your screen and yourself. I never record myself because I'm probably like in my PJs or something. But Loom, you can record your screen. Record, like if there's a specific task that you want done a specific way, you can record it and show me step by step exactly how you want that done. Or if there's something I'm not really sure on how to do, you can record it on your computer or on your phone. You can get Loom on your phone. It is awesome. And just send videos to each other. So yeah.
That has been very helpful because let's just go step by step for a second, because I was like, so Sarah, so I'm like, I love like apps and things. And then Sarah's like, okay, we're going to use all these things. I'm like, I don't want to use any more apps. But I love Voxer. I love how we're using it. And then Loom, I was thinking I can just get on Zoom and record myself, which is what I do now. And I'm sure most of us do. And then you have to wait for it to encode or whatever the word is and all that. Okay. Loom is faster. It's immediate. You can share links. You can sort it into files. I'm using the free version and it's so much better for that kind of recording that you will love it too. I know you'll love it. So I'm using it for Sarah. So I have a folder for her and then I can see when she's viewed it, which is also great. And I'm not having to store all of this on my computer because it's stored in the cloud or whatever Loom is using for that. And then I'm also using it in my business to create frequently asked questions videos. So when I got questions coming in for Serious Writer, if I can demonstrate how to do that one time to somebody, I'm like, I'm just getting on Loom, hitting record, and then I've got now a video tutorial for somebody to watch. And so you can also do that if you're doing slides or any kind of presentation. I think it's it's what we're using Zoom for, but Loom is actually created to do it. And so I love it. Yeah, Loomly, but it's really Loom, but I do love it. And I think you'll love it too if you're creating those kinds of videos.
And it just makes it so much more simpler too. Like you don't have to, hop on Zoom all the time to do it. It's literally right there as an app. You can even add it to the top of your like tabs bar on Google or Safari, whichever internet type you use, and you can just click a button and it'll ask you a few questions, and then you can just start recording.
Okay.
And it's even simpler on your phone as well. So kind of like recording your screen, but you can also talk, and it makes it awesome. And the free version, you can record up to, I think, 5 minutes, but the paid is unlimited. So
Oh, then I upgraded, but I love it. I love it.
so yeah, so that is that.
Let's go back to talking about, unless you have more to talk about the apps, but I wanted to take a few minutes before we brought everybody on. So we talked about vetting and, you know, a VA or an online specialist and making sure you're getting the right person for you. But Sarah, from your perspective, how do you, and I'm sure when you start out, you take just, I mean, you know, you take just about any business that comes your way when you're getting established. But being more established now, what red flags might a client throw up that would give you pause to think, I'm not sure I want to work with that person?
That's a very good question. So I don't know how much detail I can give.
Well, I don't want you to say anything I'm not comfortable saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I'll think of like, okay, so I have specific processes I do. They're newer, of how I bring on clients, like a whole booking process. So if somebody is particularly angry with how I book clients and the steps you have to go through to meet with me, that's definitely a red flag. So just not respecting the systems that I have in place. The communication is not there, could be a red flag. Questioning your pricing as well. Like if I was charging like $1,000 to just, you know, check your emails a few times a day, then that definitely gives you the right to be like, I don't really know if that should be that much money. That's totally reasonable. But, you know, questioning pricing, you know, what's another one I can think of? Let's see. Not reaching out to you at all hours of the day, but calling you at 3 a.m. and expecting you to answer your phone. That has happened to me before. That has definitely happened to me before. So those are just like a few red flags that we kind of look for. But that's why I have a very particular process on how I bring on clients so that I can get to know you and your business so that I know if we're going to work well together. And that's why I do that.
That was a really good question.
I think that's, yeah, and I think that's a great answer that you've come to that point in your business that you've got this, like you said, this kind of like a self-screening process in place that's going to weed out people that you just know that you would not be a good fit with. So yeah, that's great.
Definitely.
All right. Anything else that you all want to say before we bring everybody else back on? And
I'm just looking through our outline. Is there anything that you wish clients knew that they maybe take for granted?
Okay, I wrote like a tiny little thing on what I wish everybody would know. So I'll just read from that. Okay. So as much as we love going above and beyond, we also have our boundaries as well. Like I am the first person that will get up and say, let me take this over for you. Let me do this. But I also have boundaries. I truly care about you and your business, and I want to help you grow and succeed. Like when I start working with you, your business is becoming my business. I love it so much. I will fight for your business, do whatever I can for you. And communication is one of my top priorities. So if you know the communication isn't there and a VA has to wait a few days to get a response, we may not be able to get tasks done on time or done correctly. And also the most important one, we're a team, and I want to work with you, not kind of as an employee, but I want to work with you and feel like we're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then my other one was, I'm not perfect, so please give me some grace, which everybody has, which has been really nice. Like I have amazing clients.
why don't we have everybody come on then? And if you have something that you want to ask in, you know, on recording, you can do that. Great. Did we get every question in the chat?
Just one more.
Okay, you want to go ahead with that one?
Yes.
I don't know what that is.
So Sarah, question from Pam: is hiring a VA something you need to do now or wait for publication or some other big thing? I have an answer for this. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I just have a little thing and then I'll let you say what you need to say. It depends on your workload. If you are feeling super overwhelmed and you need help, definitely reach out and get a VA, even if it's for just one task that you want off your plate. But if you want to wait, if you don't feel overwhelmed or you need help, that's fine. You can wait for whatever big thing that you have going on. That's my short answer.
Well, I like your answer better than my answer, so I'm going to add on to that answer. Okay, so my general answer is usually pre-publication is where you want to be getting things set up, get your foundational stuff set up, and because once that book releases, you're now at the mercy of the publisher and numbers matter, and it's a whole nother stress load to be figuring everything out in. So that's my kind of basic answer. But I guess I will say too, but when I was first getting started just as the author without really all the companies, one reason why I started with a social media scheduler, right? Because you only have so many dollars to put places. So I thought having a social media scheduler is cheaper than if I were to hire someone to do this with me. And that's what made me pull the trigger and go ahead and use that. With the way the social media apps are now, where you can't post one piece of content once and then have it regurgitate 50 times because they've stopped that capability, I don't pay for that anymore. I just use the app or Creator Studio. And so what I have found, and I'll tell you from working with Sarah, is that I guess the answer to this is if hiring someone to help you is going to let you focus on IPAs, which are called income producing activities, that you're going to make money because now your hands aren't touching the things that don't make you money, like creating graphics, then you're now figuring out a way that you're going to funnel the work that you're able to do to then balance having somebody else come in here for that. And I will tell you that working with Sarah makes me feel, as we're even going into month 5 or month 6, I don't even know. Like I said, this has been a process, really a personal development process. I have felt working with her and having her teach me how to do things better is I feel like I'm almost, I think I even said it to her today on in our Voxer, that we're almost fully refined in some of the processes that were so overwhelming. And it took a few months to get to that point. So I would say go into with a VA knowing that you give her 3 to 4 months or however you're working with to get these processes going. Because now I feel like I'm on the precipice of doing some truly great things that I can now start going into, which I've always wanted to do. And I feel like I was created to do because Sarah has been able to come in and either fix it, do it, or create a better process for it. And that's my big thing. Like if you feel like, okay, I feel like that's where I'm at, I would say find somebody, find Sarah, but I'll fight anybody who makes her mad. I'll just tell you.
Also, I just want to apologize because apparently they're cutting grass out here. So if it's a little loud, I'll mute myself so you can't hear it.
That happened for a year. I think it was 3 years ago. Every Tuesday, one of us who were hosts had some kind of thing happen outside every single week. It was just ridiculous.
Well, I'm taking the spot now.
We passed it on to you.
Okay. Anybody else have any last minute questions? Anybody else want to come on? Well, let me see. Melissa, you came on just in time. Do you want to talk about next week?
Oh, I can mention another VA I recommend beside myself.
Okay.
So I definitely recommend me if you're looking for a VA.
I agree.
Humbly, I recommend myself because I would love to work with all of you. But I probably couldn't take on everybody, honestly. So I do recommend my sister. And she wrote just a brief little thing that I'll read to you guys. And I'll put her email down below as well. And I'll put my email in the comment section.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about next week. So,
Okay.
Sarah.
Okay, so Brittany is a follower of Christ, and she truly believes that his way is the only way. Her goal since she launched her business in 2019 is to partner alongside successful female entrepreneurs and take over time-consuming tasks like email marketing, social media management, implementing strategies like lead generation, to continue growing your business so you can focus on other important things. And I'll just add, there is nothing my sister can't do. If she doesn't know how to do a task, she is the first one to say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out for you. So she definitely goes above and beyond for her clients. And I mean, she's taught me pretty much everything I know. So she's just amazing. So I'll go ahead and link her email and my email down there. If you guys have any other questions that you want to reach out to us for, or just want to learn more about us and work with us.
Okay, that's great. Bethany, do you want to say that client tip for the recording?
Yes. So a lot of your like having someone come in that you're having to trust with like all kinds of things, really much your life, to be quite honest, is like your website, your like MailChimp, MailerLite, ConvertKit, like a lot of those things I was able just to add Sarah in as a user or as a team member. So she was able to create her own passwords and things. I think the only thing that we had to do where I had to give passwords was Sarah handles my email now, which has been I would say start with that. If you're overwhelmed by email, that's where you want to start with a VA. And because that has been a game changer. But she needs to be able to log in on her computer with mine, making sure you have the same software. So like I use a Mac. It was really important to me that she had a Mac like, because now things can cross easily. And she was able to use, I think, and I'll tell you this too. I don't know that Sarah, I don't know if you were using Mac Mail at the beginning, but I just remember you being so willing to say, if that's what you're using, let me jump in, which I thought was the sweetest thing because I saw her like, okay, we're going to do all these new apps and that's how we're going to work together. And I'm thinking, oh, I've got all these new apps to do, which I'm sure is how so many of you feel when we're like talking about social media platforms, like one more thing. But then I saw it reciprocated when I was like, I know that MacMail is a really easy way to handle my 1,800 email addresses. And she's like, I'm going to learn it. And so then she's figuring out how to get it set up. So if you're wanting someone to check your email, you probably will have to give that password, but you can always change it to something that you both know and then always change it later. But hopefully by that point, you've done the vetting process and there's contract in place. You've got a non-disclosure, which we didn't talk about, so Sarah and I each had non-disclosure agreements. So like with my companies, with her company, we each had our own contract that we sent to each other. It wasn't just her sending it to me. I also sent one to her for all of them too, because just so that you're protected and then you don't have to worry about the business things. And once you're at that point, if you don't trust her with the password, you probably shouldn't be working together. So that's just kind of my final thoughts, I guess, before everybody comes on.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Brandy said it.
I wasn't muted. Melissa, back to you.
Next week, we'll have Nancy Sanders coming on to talk about children's fiction picture books. So
Sounds really great. And we do have some good children's authors on here.
She's amazing.
Okay, well, I think that wraps up. If you're watching the replay, we're really glad that you did, but we do invite you to join us any Tuesday, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central. You're also invited to join our Facebook Writers Chat members group and check out our Writers Chat page where we do have all the videos that we do, all links to all of those from all of our episodes. Thank you again, Bethany and Sarah. This has been really fun to have you two here today to talk about your business relationship and what a online specialist can do for us. We really appreciate that. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.